I'm going to go over the various menu items for Bridge Score Plus. So we're going to start in the top left-hand corner. The top left-hand corner is an icon, and if you hover over, you'll find that in several of the items, if you hover over, you get a little bit more information. But this is the go-to button if you want to go to, quote, home, or just back to the beginning. Click on the icon, and what it's taken us to here is the default tournament, which is, I'm in this Mythical District 26, running a tournament in Atlantis, and that's the home page. This next area here is referred to as a breadcrumb, and it is a menu. So if we were to go to this is bracket 3 of a KO, we've got the tournament, we have got the event, the session number, and there's only one session for KOs, there's multiple rounds, and then it lists all of the different other sections or different brackets. So this breadcrumb allows you to easily move within a tournament. Let's briefly look at the other menus, and as I've said in an earlier video, the exact set of menu items may be slightly different on the version that you have. The home button is the same as the button to go for, same as the icon, and it takes you to home. So it's just another way. It wasn't intuitive when we first released it, and so tournament directors wanted to have something that was more obviously marked. We've got 5 submenus. Under the Tools menu, you can create a new bracketed Swiss event, a new Swiss event, a new KO. On some of them, you'll also be able to create a new pair event. Bridge Score Plus works with both tournaments and clubs. So in this, we're working in tournament mode right now. So it shows that there are 3 different tournaments that we have defined on our system. We can edit this tournament, we can create a new one, or we can just go toggle between the existing tournaments, or we can show a list of all the tournaments. For a club, we can create a new club. We can go to the clubs that we have defined, and we can actually create what are called club members. These are people who typically do not have an ACBL number, but are regular players of the club. We have the ability of being able to import ACBL score game files, and once imported, they're then shown on the system. We can also import a D99 file. So for example, at the beginning of a tournament, we would import the D99 file so we have the correct master points. There are 2 options where in a standalone mode, we can just create an ACBL score game file. So if for whatever reason you're running a bracketed KO, and let's say it's got 20 brackets and you don't want to use Bridge Score Plus to start the KO, you can just ask Bridge Score Plus to create a game file which has 20 brackets predefined in it. It's a lot quicker than the ACBL method, which is about 20-25 keystrokes per bracket. So it'd be about 400 or 500 keystrokes. With this, it's just a couple. Database SQL queries allows you to query the database. So if you are a DIC for a tournament, or you're the sponsor of a tournament and want to know information about the tournament, then this lets you query the database. It's very similar to ACBL score reports. If you are running a stratified event, there are some default stratifications provided, and this lets you edit those default stratifications. For hand records, we can create new hand records, we can list existing hand records, we can import hand records. By tying the hand records into an event, we can then do extra error checking. There are 2 modes, tournament mode and club mode. If we go into a club mode, we see that we get a very different looking interface. Nearly all these videos for the training are going to be on the tournament mode. So there you see, if you're a club owner, you look at events differently than you would as a tournament director. There'll be separate videos on what the club mode is. So back to the tournament mode. Then they have 2 additional options. One is a training mode, and in general this will be off for the purpose of giving a demo. It's currently turned on. We have the ability of just doing a sanity check on the database, make sure it's consistent. Utilities. Utilities arguably is somewhat the same as tools, but it tends to be utilities around the system, whereas tools tends to be utilities around an event. So under utilities, we can look up an ACBL number. We can find a player, find out what event they're playing in. That's somebody who's currently in the system. We can find what's called a team ID, which is a group of players on a team. The display colors are for use with projectors. So quite often in ACBL tournaments, the hotel wall, if it's played in a hotel, is a strange color and we want to be able to project on it. So normally at the start of a tournament, I'll play with the colors that are available just to find the ones that have the best contrast. We can create a Swiss teams grid chart similar to a Jeffries chart. There are various forms that we can print that by printing them off automatically, it makes the game a lot easier to run. We can generate QR codes. These are useful if we are, for example, if we've got a link to an online bulletin where we can print the QR code and players can just come up and scan that. Statistics is statistics about the database. The library menu is essentially things which help you run an event. So if you want the ACBL handbook or the bylaws, or let's say somebody's playing and they don't have a convention card, so you say, okay, you're going to have to play the standard American card. Most of these items are either created or downloaded from the ACBL website. Could well be that you are running a tournament. To give you an example, rulings. Let's say you want to know what the current ruling for one no trump with a singleton is, and you can then print that out and give it to the players afterwards. So all of these library things are typically files which exists elsewhere on the ACBL website. This is just a handy way to get there. Underneath the help menu, Bridgescore Plus provides lots of checklists and cheat sheets to help you get the job done and to make sure that you don't forget simple things, similar to, let's say, a pilot with a checklist. There are also various how-tos, so as a cheat sheet, a checklist may help you run an event and tell you what to not to forget. The how-tos explain how to do it. There's a how to use help and various other help features. One of the important things when you come to a new release is to look at the known problems and workarounds for that release. We have the ability of being able to update the library and update the software. The support menu is various options. These may or may not be displayed on the version that you have. And then there's also ability of being able to do a key press test. This is useful for 10 keys. This button on the top right hand corner with a question mark is a help icon. If you click on that, you will get page sensitive help. So this is just a list of tournaments. So if I print on this, ask for help, comes up in what's called a modal window, an override redirect window. Can't do anything else until I dismiss that window. So an example, if I'm creating a KO, I can ask for help and it gives me all the information about this screen. On each individual screen, where it's applicable, there's a question mark. This is context-sensitive help. So if I wanted to know help on the name of an event, I just click on this icon, a one-time click. I dismiss it by either clicking on the icon again, or if I click outside of the pop-up, it dismisses. I can have multiple pop-ups displayed. And again, just by clicking on the outside, all of the current ones are being dismissed. An example might be the bracket string. Well, the default here is bracket %d of %d. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I click on this help, it says that %d is replaced with the bracket number, where %D is replaced with the total number of the brackets. So for this event, bracket 1 would be called Saturday, Sunday evening KO, bracket 1 of 5. On some of the screens which have got a scroll bar, you see there's a scroll bar here. So as we scroll down the various items, when we get so far down, there is a green button that is displayed on the right-hand side. This green button, if you click on it, will take you to the top of the screen. One of the user interface designs, you'll see that there is a buttons at the top of a screen. So this is to create a new event. So there's a button to be able to create an event, and we have a same button at the bottom. Now the reason that we have it in both places is you may be working either at the top or the bottom and you just want to create the event. So you'll see that's a common design interface throughout Bridge School Plus, where you have activities both on the top and on the bottom.